All right, so we have the data table created. We have an explanation of the data table down below. Now, we did not collect this data ourselves, so we need to cite the source of this data. So we need to create a reference for it. So that's what the references section of our report is for. So click on references. And, I quickly looked up, how to reference a data set in the APA style. And this is kind of what I was able to find. So we'll just follow this format, it should be good enough. So we're going to have this as reference 3. At least yours might be different, but mine is reference 3. It's the third reference down. So first you want to put the author of the data set. And when I looked at the DASL datadescription.com website for my data file, kind of told me what the source was. And so the source of my data set said that it was from the roller coaster database at rcdb.com. So that's what I put down for the author of the data set. The year, so that was 2015. That's the year that this data was collected. For the title of the data set, so I got this actually from the file name. So that was the file name I downloaded. And it says to put it in italics. So I selected the text, and then I went up here and chose italics to put it italicized. So that's the title of the data set. Version, I don't know what version it is. Format, I'm not going to bother with that. I think it wants it something a little more complicated for that, so I'm not going to worry about it. The publisher. So for the publisher, I put the data and story library, which is the website that I downloaded this data set from, and I put the web address for the data and story library in parentheses after it. And then finally, you put the DOI or the URL, the link to where you got this data set from. So, I had gotten this data set from the data and story library. And so I just kind of copied and pasted the link that I had at the top of my web browser while I was looking at the Coasters 2015 information at the data and story library, and just pasted that in. So, this is enough information for the purposes of this report to give attribution to someone other than yourself. And so here, this is the third reference in my list. Yours might be the first, yours might be the 6th. It doesn't matter. So for me, this is reference 3. So what I'm going to do now is go back up to my data table, and down below and to the right, looks like I've already got a space here. So I'm going to put 3. That's reference 3. And generally you want references to the bottom right of a source. And so I'm going to go to format, align in text, and right justify that. And it puts that little 3 down into the right. So if someone was looking at this in my report and they wanted to say, wanted to know, oh, where did this data came from? It came from reference 3. They could go to references, reference 3, and they could actually download it themselves if they wanted to. Okay. So that's how you can insert a reference for a data set for a data table that you've created.